Let's welcome up our panelists. First, we welcome Shobana Avis, Talent Manager, HRBP at Wipro, who brings 14 years of experience in aligning HR strategies with business objectives. She specializes in leading talent programs that addresses both local and global workforce needs, ensuring culture and geographic adaptability. I request Shobana ma'am to come forward, please. Now we have Sridhar sir, People and Culture Head at Gilbarco, Veeder Route, India, who is the People and Culture Lead years with 21 years of experience in diversified portfolios in HR. He holds Masters in Human Resource Management and certification from Indian Institute of Management, MERS, AON, Hewitt, and Comferry. I request Sridhar sir to come on the dais, please. Next, we have Chhaya Subramanian, HR Head, Alstom Transport India Limited, Coimbatore, with a rich journey spanning 23 years. Her professional path led her through the various esteemed India and multinational companies, including GE, Suzlon, Tafe, and currently Alstom, where she manages workforce of over 3,000 employees. Welcome her with a huge round of applause, everyone. Now we have Muralikrishnan B, HR Business Partner at Ford Motor Company, brings 16 plus years of experience in driving strategic HR initiatives that align business goals with employee experiences. He is passionate about talent management, organizational development, and process transformation. Please, sir. Next we have Magesh, sir, General Manager India and Director of Rappit Software India Private Limited. He carries 16 years of professional experience in the technology industry and 5 plus years of experience in manufacturing and civil services. He has proven track record of setting up an organization in STPI, SEZ, schemes and startups. Please, sir. Mahesh is also known for his ability to build up performing teams with a strong value system in line with business needs. So it's time to start a CHRO power panel. Culture versus performance. What should HR prioritize? Over to you.
Check, check. Able to hear me? People at the last? I think it's a great evening that we have propelled it all the way. In fact, when they started, they spoke about the next event is Hyderabad. If you have actually really good with this venue particularly, like, this is actually closer to airport. Any flight that takes off from airport actually overtakes this meridian. I'm not sure how many have experienced it. Any takeoff actually goes through this, the top of airport. I'm sure that all the people who spoke before us now really propelled us and we are already there. My duty is to ensure that I will navigate them through the aerial route. And I'm sure by the time we are actually clocking for the dinner, now we are actually grounded and coming back to the venue. So let's ensure that now we will leverage the expertise here to ensure now we are able to navigate and come back, right? So on behalf of the NHRD chapter Coimbatore, I would like to say thanks for the partnership that we are doing it here, and I represent NHRD proudly here as we speak about it. What we will do is we'll go through 2-3 rounds, and I'm sure that now we'll give ample time for the audience also to ask a few questions. But I'm sure that we will make use of the time effectively for all of us to converse. So we'll start with the basic tug of war. What I'm going to do is, as a pre-work that we have done, we have actually divided ourselves into a couple of groups, because if you look at it, Shobana, Magesh comes with a kind of similar industry. So does Ms. Chhaya and Sridhar come with a similar industry. What we will do is, there are a set of paired questions that we are going to ask to the set of panelists. They will share their initiatives, they'll share their insights, after which we'll get a reflection of it. So round one, let's first break the tug of war actually in front of us, right? So this question is to the pair that we have from Shobana and Sridhar, right? The question that I would really ask from the audience perspective is, if a culture takes a back seat, how does it really impact the performance organization? Maybe let me start with Shobana.
It's a back seat.
What's the cost to the performance of the organization?
Yeah, so it's obvious, right? I think everyone can answer this. If culture is going to take a back seat, I think, yeah. think. Am I audible? Then it's going to be, yeah. It obviously is an issue. No?
I think the performance of the mic needs attention. Maybe you can take an alternate mic. Yeah.
Performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the answer is so obvious, right? You focus completely on only the performance, and if you're not focusing on the culture, slowly, right? Eventually, there will be a burnout happens, right? Obviously, when there is a burnout, that eventually, a lot of things are proportionate. Like when burnout happens, that there will be a decline in productivity, employee morale, that decreases. Everything is proportionate, and obviously there will be impact in your productivity, impact in your sales, and in turn, a lot of things, right? It'll impact your recruitment costs also, because you have high turnover rate. Employees leave. I mean, you will have results. When you focus on performance, you will have results, but it'll be short term, right? When you don't focus on culture, it'll be, obviously, it'll result in high turnover. And that again will result in, you'll have to invest a lot of amount in your recruitment cost again. So everywhere it takes a hit, right? For example, a small example, maybe I cannot reveal the name of the brand, but then you can obviously guess the name of the brand. I think one automotive sector, they focused only on performance. They did not even focus on culture, complete pressure on the employees. They focused on, producing large number of cars. They wanted to hit the number, only the performance, not the culture. So they did succeed. They did have a short-term, result. They did achieve in the market. But what happened was the end product was not quantitative, right? They did have a number of, sales happen. And what happened is, after, selling the cars, they did, they were on the top in the list. But then what happened? They had to go back to the car owners, get the cars again. They'll have to correct whatever the mistakes they made, which means they didn't produce a quality product because of the, they focused only on performance, right? That's one simple example. Sridhar, if you want to add.
Good evening. Just to complement whatever Shobana was saying, I'll give you some facts about how culture affects your performance. A recent study from McKinsey, which was published about a year back, says that if the company's culture is not good, it affects the employee morale to an extent of about 26%. And if you really convert that into your operating margins that companies operate with in Indian context, roughly, most of the Indian companies operate with an operating margin of less than 20%. Most of the companies. So if you can retaliate both the 26 and the 20, you will actually be able to complement how culture resonates to the company's performance and, of course, the individual performance. That's one. Now, I was able to take a lot of cues from our previous session, which David was talking about. Two things. One is evolve. So he says an evolution is happening. Assuming a company which has a culture where you're not ready to take the change positively, where is the scope of individuals coming and saying, hey, look, this is coming. He showed a lot of things to us. That culture of a company should actually support or promote employees to come up. I'll give you one more example before I leave the decorum to others. 2020, we talk about COVID, the new norm, and assuming Tesla coming up with a robot called Optimus, 2021. Amazing innovation. And Elon Musk gives you an interview and he says, I'm willing to fail. The only thing that I'm registering here is I will fail, but I will fail better. That's the culture. Thank you.
Thanks, both of you. Now let me flip to Chhaya and Magesh. Let me flip the question opposite and ask you in this way. Can HR really, bring that culture and well-being in front while we are not running behind the business targets? What's your perspective?
It's working. Yeah. It's a very good question, Murali. Culture plays a major role in the organization, and HR has to play a dual role, right? And it is an agent, or Spock, whatever, the culture agent, for the organization. And at the same time, it also should support the business, right, in terms of productivity, engagement, employee connect, and so on. But the culture, when we, generally when we ask candidates in an interview, what is your dream company? Either it is an IT or it is an manufacturing industry. People say Infosys or Wipro or Accenture or Tata. Or if you come to a manufacturing industry, they may say Alstom, or they may say TAFE, or ZF, Suzlon, whatever, right? So why do they choose as the dream company? Because those companies have proven for a better culture, right? So Ford, I forgot to mention your company as well. So Ford. So these are all the companies where they have proven for years on the culture. So I think it can be any kind of a culture, like it is a leadership culture, employee connect culture, putting the best practices in the organization, or introducing the respectful work culture in the organization. I think, for handling this kind of a multi-culture and Gen Y, Gen Z, whatever the generations we are handling now. So bringing the right perspective and right culture from the day one in the organization matters a lot. And I think the HR, as I said, has to play a dual role in both being a change agent for the culture and also educating or leading by front to the management. How do we implement and inculcate with each employees?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good evening. We know we are standing between the dinner and... okay. Just to go, we have a timer here, okay. The question about can well-being and culture be balanced? Okay, let's understand what is a culture. Culture is primarily a top-down approach. That's what I have experienced throughout my professional journey. It's a belief. You will stand to that belief, whatever happens in your business. So you don't change that. It cannot be changed year on year. It's a belief system. Like ma'am said, why people choose a company, it's primarily because of the cultural elements specific to the organization. Take the example of Ford, General Electric. So these are all legacy companies who set standards. Okay, can we manage employee well-being and culture together? Companies set practices upfront. They set standards upfront. If you have a proper backup plan during the course of an absence of any employee, if the work still goes, if the process can take care of the well-being of the employee, it should be built into your culture. It can still be balanced if you have a very good cultural element in the organization. All this has definitely a cost element. So you should believe it should be done. With that, definitely this is manageable.
In round one, the panel seems to be well balanced. Let us know now, peel the audience and try to get more reality. Let me now flip it back to Shobana in terms of the myth of engagement, which is the round two for all of you. What truly makes employees feel connected? Is it the perks or the great leadership?
I would say perks is important. Great leadership is also important. So perks, perks are generally, I would say it is, they can just give tangible benefits, right? But I would say a great leadership has, one step ahead of perks. Perks is also important. I don't deny, definitely. I want perks too. But then, great leadership, as I told you, that takes, one step ahead. As I told, that gives tangible benefits only. But, but this one, great leadership will give you a sense of belongingness, sense of trust between the employer and the employee and the manager, leadership, whoever it is. So I would say you will have to have the right balance between both, I would say, if you ask me, because, you have to, great leadership will give, give regular feedbacks to the employees. They respect the employees, which means employees will feel valued, they'll feel respected, right, with the great leadership, not with the perks, right? Perks is again important when you, I think it depends, right? Say if it is a sales pitch or something you need to bid, that way I would say perks will definitely work so much. And for example, for the great leadership, I would say there are a lot of companies as an example, but specifically if you ask me, which a great company, all of us know, it's Google, right? They have innovative workspace, they have a lot of perks. Obviously, when I was in college, when I want to come out, I was so fascinated by seeing the Google innovative workspaces and their perks, free gym, free snacks, free meals, a lot of things, right? A lot of parental leaves, a lot of perks they had. It was so attractive. But what Google leadership did was, they had a right balance. They just did not focus only on perks. They did focus on great leadership also. They had a leadership which, which focused on transparency. They had transparency. I think, Lionel David Paul, he touched upon that point, right? There was a transparent approach. There was no, hidden approach and all. They did have transparency and open communication. And more than that, there was employee empowerment. Specifically, I'm talking about Google, right? Because of this approach, I think Google is still running and they being one of the market leaders, I think. Right balance between the both is the answer, according to me. Sridhar?
On a lighter note, folks, great leadership is about bringing in the right perks, right? So that's how I look at it. So it's about, how leaders transform a company's aspects into what is desired by the individuals. Now, let me give my perspective on two angles. Again, I took cues from Lionel. So there are two things. One is a Gen Z and a Gen X, all right? So today, if you look like, I was hearing a recent conversation from one of my friends in the Deloitte. 2015, you had about 5% of the population under Gen Z. Today, it is about 24%, right? And it's going to grow up. Now, a Gen X, for him, it's more to do with perks. Why? Because 15 years back, if you look at the wealth management of any family, it was not so sufficient for an individual to actually go explore. Today, the scenarios are changing. Your purchasing power parity of India has gone up rapidly. Second is, a Gen X, today, if you go and interview a Gen X, the perks actually takes a second stand, right? He is more inclined towards, the learning opportunities, career frameworks, what kind of avenues he has to grow up the ladder very fast, etc., is becoming the talk of the town. So that defines your balance between perks and great leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Sridhar. Now let me flip it back to Chhaya and Magesh. Maybe let me start with Magesh, since you're sitting closer to me. What makes an employee really leave the organization? Is it a low pay or the low culture of the organization or poor culture of the organization?
Okay, I have a different perspective on this. Okay, when you recruit a person, at what scale you recruit? Okay, are you competitive enough or you're at par or above the market? We always, as a company, Vanenburg, it's a Dutch company, we always make sure we recruit someone certainly above the market level. Pay comes first to decide to join a company or not. But to leave the company, culture matters most. That's my call. When an employee leaves your company, okay, during my interview process, I have seen some of the candidates prefer to stay back in the same company, even though you make a higher offer, relatively for $1.5 lakh, he prefers to stay back because he values certain things are relatively better. He's there in a very stable environment, the culture is better, all that. If an employee joins back your company or prefers to join back your company, which means you're at the winning edge. So that's where, if you have a lot of employees who prefers to come back and join back your company, then which means you have a better culture. That's what, we have a lot of employees who wants to come back and join, they go on a higher pay scale for a better city like Bangalore, Hyderabad. But if at all Coimbatore, the first priority comes to join back Vanenburg. So that is where the cultural element comes. Culture comes first for anyone to leave. A bad manager and a bad company is a primary decision for someone to leave. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I also second Magesh's thoughts here. The one secret is, whenever any exit interview happens, nobody reveals that, he's leaving for the manager, for the sake of manager. Okay, everybody says, ma'am, I got 40%, ma'am, I got 50%, ma'am, I am getting that position, this positions. But we have one process in Alstom where once the employee leaves, we will do once again the survey kind from the third party. And looking at the result, we were shocked. Out of 10 employees, 8 people have said they are leaving because of the managers, okay? And they are leaving because the toxic culture where manager is not able to listen our voice, where manager is not able to, doing a micromanagement, where manager is not allowing me for, any kind of opportunity in the organization. So definitely, as he said, the culture makes the people to leave. So that's why every time we emphasize HR has to play a dual role, multiple roles, multiple hats we need to wear, being a cultural manager or innovation manager, business partner, all kind of hats we need to wear.
Thank you to all the panelists. Somewhere there is a sense that now culture plays a very premier role. Now let's go to the third round where I will go to know in terms of the performance and engagement. A quick rapid fire. If you have to choose as a performance, the old team or the star performer, whom will you reward first?
Who will I reward first?
From your organization or maybe your perspective, right? Would you prefer to reward an old team or a star performer?
No, I would say there is no universally correct answer to this. Definitely no. Because I would need a star performer, at the same time I would need a team also. Because the star performer belongs to that particular team, right? So I would say there should be, I'll give 2 awards. I can leverage whatever winner circle points that I have, and obviously, right? It shouldn't be like, I am just focusing only on the star performer. So, if I'm going to focus only on star performer, those other team members will become vulnerable if they are, just relying on only the star performer. So, I would obviously go, there is and approach, right? It's always there. Earlier we just had, you have only one option to go, but now it's not that way. I would see, we've evolved as an organization, as industry so much, and I think we should take and approach, which is a successful model. You can do both for sure. And as I told you, right, not only the star performer, the team also, matters for me. So for that, again, I think, a right example, any industry example, if you ask, there is one, it depends also, right? If it is a sales team, obviously a critical employee could be there, a star performer can be there. And if it is going to be IT service product development, product development or service delivery like us, obviously collaborative environment, collaborative team matters the most. So, and approach is the universally correct answer according to me. Yeah.
One piece of advice is, if you are awarding your employees, award them graciously, okay? Don't be stingent with the small pennies. Take the budget and, keep awarding them. You don't know the kind of feel-good factor they will have and the kind of, the productivity or engagement, whatever you describe in English words, you will see multiple. So, being a HR, be more generous in rewarding.
I have an example. I want to finish that. One big example, live example, all of you know is Netflix. Netflix is following the same thing. You know, they always follow and approach. They give both. They give importance to the team, and they never leave their star performers also. Like they follow both, and if you notice, their key board will have inclusive team members. As star performers. You know, even if they leave, it doesn't affect the team. So that's how it is. I would say Apple, Netflix, like that. Yeah, Sridhar.
This works for me. I don't know why is it not working for you, Shubha. All right. So I recollect one example in my career, okay? So where I had a small team and I was recognized as a star performer. So my boss comes in and gives me a gift card, which I had about, 5K or 6K, if my memory is right. So she says, you know, this project went on well, it was a team effort, and Sridhar took the lead, he was good, and I have pleasure in giving this gift card to Sridhar. And then next comes the boomerang. So Sridhar will host a party tonight for the entire team, who has been very supportive in driving Sridhar to this. So that's how a reward system should be, ideally. See, I mean, it's two ways. You also recognize an employee who has done a contribution a little far above your counterparts. And at the same time, as a boss, as a leader, you're not letting down the team as well. So it is actually hand to hand. So you will have to actually, play it in such a dynamic way. I mean, I need not say that to HR experts like you. You will have to actually, subtly play in such a way that, you carry the team along your side and at the same time, recognize the blue-eyed boys or girls in the team as well. So that's how it is.
Okay. Given that you give importance to the performance, now let me come back to Magesh again. We do come across scenarios where sometimes few organizations keep some of the people retain the organization even if they create a toxic culture because they are high performing. They retain with an organization. Now, what do you think that HR can really do in this space?
Okay. Toxic, maybe let's define the term toxic. What is toxic? Toxic is kind of people who don't let others to progress, take credit for others' work, whatever it be. Generally, toxic performers are in general retained by companies for a couple of reasons. One is to meet the targets. Certainly, it's very short-lived. Number two, why they are retained, maybe he or she could be the blue-eyed person of an investor or a board member, only on those grounds. Generally, toxic culture, toxic performers go unseen. They are not seen as a toxic person at all. Okay, it is kind of masked to their reporting manager. Maybe there's a person who is a very toxic person who is not seen as a toxic person at all. That's how it happens in an organization. So my opinion is if the organization believes, company like us, we are completely against that, this kind of culture, even on high performance standards, we don't retain such people. When there's a matter of trust, innovation, integrity and insights, on the integrity factors, when these things are questioned, even if he or she is a high performer, we don't retain them. That's the stand, what we do.
Chhaya.
Yeah. Toxic work culture, no way. No way it is accepted in the organization, right? So, we have an ethics and compliance and respectful workplace is keep happening in the organization, and we keep educating people how to behave, how to treat their colleagues, right? But still, we come across a couple of cases. For example, I have one live case in the organization actually, where the person aims to bring the results for the organization, right? But the kind of the behavior he demonstrates with the stakeholders, with the cross-functional team, with the managers, it is different, okay? But end of the day, we can see the results. But during the process of bringing the results, that behavior is not acceptable, right? So we may say that, okay, this person is bringing the result, but when it comes to the performance, or he is good, but when it comes to the people management, he is bad. So as a HR, we keep giving the counseling, we keep educating. But some of the things we can, if some companies may keep silent because this kind of a niche skills, sometimes we will not be able to get in the market. Okay, we will just tolerate the person with the person and we'll keep, advising and educating. But some companies, they won't accept whatever it is. Even if you're not bringing a results, we won't, accept this kind of a culture. So the first thing is no toxic behavior or no toxic, attitude, whatever it is, acceptable in the organization.
Very well summarized. So there is a very clear perspective coming out that for you to drive the culture, you need, as an HR, you need to keep the performance of the organization intact. Now let me flip it back to Sridhar. Maybe I'll start with you this time in terms of, in the fast-paced industry, right? Today, many of the managers tend to ignore that culture warning signs. Every organization has its own pulse survey or employee survey. We will definitely know who's the good manager, who's the bad manager. All the surveys come. But if he or she is a good performer, or they're giving the business, sometimes the CXOs ignore that culture warning signs. How should HR play a role in those scenarios?
So, see, as HR professionals, I will again, resonate to, bear with me, Lionel, because I'm taking again your name. See, there's a change in which HR operates currently. Business partnering was something that, he spoke about by and large. And Murali just touched upon one thing called as employee satisfaction index. I'm sure most of us in this hall, run an employee satisfaction index. But the key is what exactly we pull out of that employee satisfaction index. How do you go back to the business? All right. Assuming, you have Magesh, who is a top performer, Chhaya, again, who gives business, but, in a way, they are not, adapting to the company's culture or the norms. I go to my business head and says, hey, look, the culture is getting spoiled. So why don't we look at revisiting the roles of Magesh? Do you think he's going to listen to me? Absolutely no. It's like, how do you go to your leader, talk with analytics, talk with business sense in such a way that how softer elements make a larger impact to the business? And second thing is, how do you complement those things with actions that resonate to the employee as well as to your margins of the company? So you will have to really be mindful in terms of what you really want to present. Today, I would really say the dynamics are completely different. I'm not discounting the softer aspects that HR should take care of. But at the same time, it's a 50-50 proportion where you talk numbers, where you talk business language, and at the same time, you don't compromise on your people and ethics. So that's how I would look at this particular aspect.
Shobana?
Yeah, I completely resonated to what Sridhar was saying, right? So HR should take immediate action, and see, no matter what, you have to reach out to your leadership. Give them the warning sign, present them the risk factors that, company is going to face with the proper analytics, proper data, whatever you have. Now you have analytics, data everywhere. Go with evidence to them. I'm sure, if it is a great leadership, they will definitely take action and, they will definitely consider the cultural warning signs and they will definitely take action. Again, the great leadership plays a major role here. But if they are going to ignore that, they're going to fail big time for sure. So, I was just, again, like how he was giving examples, I'm just picking up from him. Maybe you can guess again, the brand. It's a taxi brand. I think they have a major market share here. So, what they had is, they did initially face lot of criticism, there were a lot of discrimination, harassment issues, when they launched into the market, they just penetrated to the market. They had a lot of such issues. HRs did take that to the leadership. They did present that, we are ignoring the cultural warning signs. They did take it to them, but those leadership ignored it and, they definitely failed big time. Can you guess the brands by any chance? A taxi brand? They did fail. There's another company also, they did again fail. They did a lot of such things like, they ignored the cultural warning signs irrespective of, whatever, example is Jet Avis, they failed big time because of this. And the taxi company that I'm mentioning is Uber, right? They ignored the cultural warning signs, and then later there was a new CEO came in, and then he has to rebuild the company right from the scratch. Which, imagine rebuilding a company, that's the loss that the company had faced. So that's the answer.
Interesting perspective. Now let me flip it back to Chhaya. But what I would like to really add your expertise here is, in any organization, HR and finance are always like bread and jam, right? They always gel together. They're good friends, right? And many a times in many of the performance or culture benefits, there is always a tug of war that happens between the HRO or a CFO, right? Your perspective in terms of how do you really do that balancing act and keep the organization forward?
Yeah, I really like the tagline of LPD, like, work, workplace, and workforce, where, and also he clearly mentioned what are the, CHROs or to be CHROs, to be how we have to be. So it is definitely bread and jam where CFO and CHRO should be together to balance out. Okay. Yes, there are, certainly there are a tug of war between there. One, when the leaders have the long-term visibility and also the kind of clear objectives of the organization and the proper communication to the team that, this is the budget or this is the things we are going to place for the next, in the year, definitely it can be very well balanced. And the kind of the business happening and the kind of what LPD was saying, like, Bani. So, lot of ambiguities or anxious, the things will keep coming, and HR always has to be prepared for the worst and for the good also, right? And in this case, to answer to you, Murali, we have to have balance between both people and the cost, right? So when we have to have a good cost controlling measures, then we can take care of the people. So both has to be hand in hand, and we have to work together, and we have to keep educating our leaders and to the management by giving the right kind of analytics, right? In terms of people, in terms of business, in terms of people, in terms of what is happening in the market. I think these three things will keep, will be good inputs for the management to take the, good decisions or whatever the initiatives where, industry can bring in.
Magesh?
Okay, I hold a different position in my company. I report to my CFO.
Wow.
I report to my CFO. Okay, I'm on the board. But my CFO is an investor director. So it's a very complex situation. So how do you balance things? Okay, I'm also on the board, but I'm representing the India entity for execution level. My CFO is an investor director. So the balancing between this is quite tricky. Making the right proposals, right time, certainly works. That's my experience. How do you make that proposal for a company, for an IT company, ITS? Okay, let me take an IT company. Out of the 100 rupees, your cost runs, employee cost, direct and indirect cost is close to 77 rupees. 77% is the employee direct and indirect cost. So how do you convince an investor to keep spending that money when certain benefits are intrinsic? You have to populate a lot of data to convince an investor when you're on the board. Direct benefits, certainly certain things you cannot go, it's a compliance factor in India. Indirect benefits, you have to do a benchmark study and give it to your CFO and get it done. This is my take. Actually, there's no shortcut. But I am still doing a balancing act. It's working. If you put up a right proposal, it works.
I think as LPGD said, do more with the less.
Yeah, do more with the less. Actually, that's the right thing. For the Bani culture, we also saw this year recruits, when we were meeting students from Amrita, one of the candidate was asking, I want an employment, can I work 2 days in a week? The affordability has gone up. Like Sridhar said, the affordability is gone up. So they want to work 2 days. So what is the other 3 days you will do? He said, I'm looking, as he said, they want to do a lot of travel. They're looking for the purpose of the life, all that. I was really stunned. Oh, okay, I think maybe I'm quite obsolete.
I think he started off with a sabbatical in the offer stage.
Yeah, so he says, okay, are you fine to compromise on your salary? Yes, he said, yes, I'm fine.
I think this kind of situation you will also come across when you do your budgeting along with your finance heads. So what we are supposed to do is cost cutting anyway. Every organization will speak, considering the business kind of dynamic changes are happening in the market. Definitely every organization will look into for a cost cutting measures. So that time HR, maybe we have to leverage the technology, the kind of technology, new technologies is coming in. So we need to see that how do we leverage with the lesser cost, how do we maintain the balance of, engaging the employees, motivating the employees, and at the same time we retain a good talent. I think this is something we as a HR, I think, we should be thinking beyond the boundaries, not only just money, money, money. How do we leverage these kind of technologies in the organization?
Lovely perspectives. I do see the timer is in the last few seconds. So if you have to really summarize, maybe we'll take up Q&A on the floor, but if I have to really summarize the perspectives that we heard is, we'll take a visualization. Now, last week it came in the media that in front of Lee Meridian, both the metro work and the flyover for the road will be hand in. It's a two-step flyover that's going to come here. There will be a two-step overbridge that will come exactly in opposite front of this hotel. The first floor will be for all the buses or long drive vehicles. The second floor will be for metro. So that's how I think HR has to ensure that your culture and performance has to go hand in hand. The pillars of the bridge will be definitely your technology, your analytics, and how do you ensure you take that employee experience on good. I think that's one of the key takeaway here. Were you about to say something? No, you're saying it's the visualization. Yeah, because I know the timer is on top of it. I know. Yeah, we are on time. So on behalf of the organizing committee, thanks for us, and I'm sure that we'll take up some interactive questions on the floor along with dinner.
Thank
you, Murali.